Liam and Clara met at a local bookstore. It was raining that day, and both had sought shelter among the shelves of worn paperbacks and overpriced coffee. Their conversation began with a shared laugh over reaching for the same copy of Pride and Prejudice. By evening, they were seated in a corner booth of a nearby cafe, dissecting their favorite novels and childhood memories. There was an ease between them, as if they'd known each other for years. 6 months later, they moved into a modest apartment on the outskirts of the city. Liam, a data analyst with a penchant for routine, had saved enough for a down payment. Clara, a freelance graphic designer, filled their home with sketches and half-finished projects. She worked odd hours, often disappearing into her studio for days, emerging only for coffee or to share a rushed meal. Their marriage was quiet, predictable. Liam left for work at 7 a.m., returning by 6 p.m., to find Clara still in her paint-splattered robe, humming to jazz records. She rarely left the apartment, citing deadlines or creative blocks. When friends asked how she managed such isolation, Liam would shrug. She's always been like this, needs her space to create. He trusted her implicitly. Why wouldn't he? Clara was transparent. Her phone left carelessly on the couch, her laptop open to mood boards and client emails. But trust, like ink, bleeds when least expected. It started with a text. One Tuesday, Liam's colleague, Marcus, slid into his cubicle with a smirk. "Saw your wife at the Oak yesterday. Didn't know she was into art galleries." Liam frowned. "Clara, she hates crowds." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Swear it was her. Red scarf, dark hair, even that tattoo on her wrist. The bird, right?" The description fit. Clara's sparrow tattoo was distinct, its wings spread mid-flight. Liam's chest tightened, but he forced a laugh. Must have been her doppelganger. She's been home all week. Yet doubt lingered. That night, over pasta carbonara, he casually asked about her day. "Same as always," Clara said, twirling her fork. "Finished the logo for that bakery. Might take a walk tomorrow, though. Need air." Her tone was light, but Liam noticed the way her eyes flickered to her phone, screen down on the table, a habit she'd never had before. The next morning, he pretended to leave for work but lingered downstairs. Through the lobby window, he watched Clara step into a rideshare at 9:15 a.m., dressed not in her usual sweats but a fitted black dress. His hands trembled as he hailed another car. They stopped at a boutique hotel downtown. Clara hurried inside, oblivious to Liam's shadow in the taxi behind. For an hour, he paced the sidewalk, replaying every excuse she could offer. A client meeting, a sudden errand. But when she reappeared, her arm was linked with a man in a tailored suit. They laughed like old friends, his hand brushing hers as he opened the car door. Liam's phone buzzed. A text from Clara. "Working late tonight. Don't wait up." He didn't follow them. Instead, he returned home, numb, and scoured her studio. Canvases leaned against the walls, half-painted landscapes, and abstract swirls. But beneath a stack of sketches, he found a receipt for a hotel spa dated 2 weeks prior. The service: couples massage. When Clara returned at midnight, Liam was waiting. "How was work?" he asked, voice steady. "Exhausting." She kicked off her heels, avoiding his gaze. Client kept changing their mind about the color palette. Which client? The new cafe on Elm. Why? He held up the receipt. Spa day with a cafe owner. Clara froze. "It's not what you think." "Then explain." She didn't. The silence that followed was thicker than the paint on Clara's abandoned canvases. Liam waited, clutching the receipt like a verdict. But Clara only turned away, her shoulders rigid. "I needed a break," she muttered. "You wouldn't understand." He didn't sleep that night. By dawn, he'd memorized the creaks in their apartment, the way the floorboards sighed near the bathroom, the hum of the fridge that always startled her at 3 a.m. Clara stayed on the couch, her back to him, a fortress of blankets. The next morning, She left before he woke. Her studio door stood ajar, revealing a half-finished mural of a forest, a commission for a children's library, she'd claimed. But now, Liam noticed the initials carved into a tree trunk. He'd never heard her mention a client with those initials. At work, he mindlessly scrolled through her Instagram. Clara rarely posted, but her latest story showed a coffee cup from the Velvet Bean, a cafe across town. The timestamp, 10:37 a.m. yesterday, the same time she claimed to be on a client call. That evening, he suggested dinner at her favorite Italian spot. She agreed too quickly, her smile brittle. Over tiramisu, he asked about the mural. The library project. She stirred her espresso. Almost done. Just adding details. Who's JR? The librarian. Why are you asking? Just curious. He watched as she took a sip. A week has passed, filled with intense anticipation. Clara went for walks more and more often, returning with a blush on her cheeks and vague explanations. Liam began to match her absence with deadlines by looking at the client emails she left open on their shared laptop. Most of them were the same, with the exception of Thursdays. Every Thursday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., there was only one word on her calendar: research. On another Thursday, Liam said at work that he was sick. He followed her to a modern loft with a mirrored facade reflecting the pale winter sky. Through the lobby window, he saw her hugging a man in his early 40s with gray hair and a leather bag slung over his shoulder. They disappeared into the elevator. Liam's hands were shaking as he texted her. I need your advice on a new sofa color. Are you free? The answer came instantly. At a meeting. Did you send the photos later? He waited for another hour until the courier opened the entrance door and went upstairs. The door of apartment 4B was ajar, and voices could be heard in the hallway. This can't go on anymore. Clara's voice sounded strained. You promised to tell him, the man replied. Liam froze. He came closer, peered through the crack. Canvases were arranged along metal beams. Her red scarf lay on the back of a chair. This was not the client's office. It was a studio. Her studio. The man, probably the same Julian, gently took her hand. You're too talented to hide. Let me help you. Clara jerked her hand away. I'm not hiding. I choose. Liam stepped back, and the truth hit him, cold and unforgiving. It wasn't an affair. It was a chance. That night, he calmly asked her, Who is Julian Reeves? Clara turned pale. The name he found on the gallery's website hung in the air between them. He's a curator, she finally admitted. Found my work online. He wants to expose them. And Thursdays. Critical sessions. He said I needed a mentor. Her voice cracked. I wanted to tell you, but you would. Thought you were leaving. The words were bitter on his tongue. I'm changing. She gripped the edge of the table. You like stability. I was afraid that you would hate me for wanting something more. Liam took a look at the photo of her new project, a forest landscape, but now Julian's initials were hidden by layers of paint. You lied. A few months. I tried to get you involved. She opened her laptop, and a folder full of sketches appeared on the screen. His face, their apartment, the bookstore where they met. All files were marked as incomplete. Every time I tried, you said, draw what sells. So I was painting. She waved her hand at the featureless landscapes that decorated the walls. He never noticed the difference. The next morning, Clara collected her brushes. Julian offered me a residence in Chicago. For 6 months. What about us? She hesitated. I need to understand who I am, without just being your wife. Liam didn't stop her. The betrayal wasn't that she was leaving, but who she had become while he wasn't paying attention. A few weeks later, a postcard arrived. On the front is a bold abstraction, chaotic splashes of red and gold. On the back are 3 words. I'm sorry, Clara. He pinned it to the refrigerator next to an old shopping list that she had scribbled down a long time ago. The mundane and the faithful are side by side.